Good evening and welcome to the Board of Commissioners meetings for June 23rd, 2015.
The first speaker is Don Towers. If you would please come forward.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for having me, allowing me a chance to speak. It's my first chance, opportunity to speak to the Board of Commissioners. My name is Don Towers. I'm a resident of East Cobb and Marietta. I'm a retired Army officer. I'm also a gun owner. I am a strong proponent and supporter of the Second Amendment. And I also happen to believe in my ability to protect myself, to be my own best first responder by carrying a firearm and lawfully doing so, safely and responsibly doing so. To that purpose, I applied for a weapons carry license. I've been carrying a firearm for about 3 years in the state of Georgia. And I've been a long-time gun owner prior to that. I was able to attend the June 9th Board of Commissioners meeting, and I heard some things that disappointed me a little bit. One of the things I want to talk about was the security plan upgrade to the building and to the surrounding parking garages, and I had some concerns that I heard there. The $1.2 million, that was approved by the board. And one of the things that I think is a bit of wasteful spending is the portion that applies to restricting the carry of lawfully carried firearms and the screening of firearms in the building. I do believe that the efforts toward that is going to be a waste of money. I should say that I do appreciate that this board takes seriously their responsibility to carefully consider all reasonable measures to enhance security and to safeguard both Cobb citizens, county employees that work and work in this building, as well as officers such as yourself. And I too am a big proponent of public safety. That is, after all, one of the reasons why I carry a firearm myself. And I would be supported by thousands and thousands of other weapons carry license owners who carry firearms for personal defense. There's probably about 700,000 plus of us in the state of Georgia estimated. I understand from what I heard at the June 9th meeting that the policy for firearms in this building, as far as restricting and screening, is still being considered. It's my firm belief that this is probably an unwise and misguided policy, and I'm going to go through and talk about that just a little bit. I'd just like to make a few points for the board to consider. Today we're a week away from the one-year anniversary of HB 60 that went into effect on 1 July. As the board is well aware, passing the state legislature and after government deal signed into law, one change in HB 60, which we're concerned about here, is that lawfully armed Georgians were then, after HB 60, allowed to possess, who have a weapons carry license, were then allowed to carry a firearm into any government building as long as there were no restrictions or screening in place at that building. Since the law went into effect, there are a couple of things that we've observed in this past year. One of the things that I'm unaware of, and as far as I know there are no instances of this, are any gun incidents or gun-related crimes or incidents at all involving lawfully armed citizens in this building. I'm also unaware of any gun incidents involving armed criminals in this building. In fact, since HB 60, the year that's passed, I'm unaware of any gun crimes in any government building in Cobb County. Before HB 60, there was just the law. Law-abiding citizens knew that you could not carry in government buildings. We abided by the law. Criminals, of course, by definition, don't obey laws. They will carry and go where they wish with firearms, of course. But even so, I'm unaware of any gun crimes that occurred in Cobb County government buildings in recent memory, even before HB 60. The only thing that has changed has been the new one-year-old law that permits lawfully armed citizens to carry guns. I just want to ask this question. What is the urgency for restricting and screening? Why are we doing this? Is this a solution essentially in search of a problem? I would submit that it probably is. Gun-free zones have a long and sad history of being ineffective and actually being victim disarmament zones, where criminals that are intent on committing mayhem are able to do so because they know they're not going to confront armed citizens. Mr. Chairman, I would ask the board to carefully consider that whether all this expense, including new construction, 3 new deputies, the mission to screen for firearms, is a wise use of valuable taxpayer funds. I don't believe the board wants to put these in place and have a version of security theater that really is going to be ineffective. I would ask the board to reconsider. I would ask the board to consider, do they want to stand up and say, we are against lawfully carried firearms. We do not trust our law-abiding citizens to carry in the building. I don't believe this board wants to say that, and I would respectfully ask the board, Mr. Chairman, to take these points into consideration.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for listening.
Appreciate it.
The next speaker is Michael Menkes.
I'm Mike Menkes. I live in Marietta by Terrell Mill Park,
Thank you.
Commissioner Ott's district.
Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity. I'm here tonight to comment about the new security plan designed to keep background checked, licensed adults from carrying firearms in this building. The plan's gun-free zone will be an effective tool for the active killer. Gun-free zones create defenseless victims, reduce the number of defenders to a handful who are often quickly neutralized, and provide the killer with time to do his evil without opposition. The bloody toll of gun-free zones can be seen by looking at the end result of 2 active killer events from churches in South Carolina. The first is in Charleston, the recent one. There, lawfully carried firearms were banned. There, 9 defenseless people were murdered in minutes. The second church is in Boiling Springs, South Carolina, where guns were allowed. There, a wannabe killer kicked open the side door of a sanctuary and entered with a shotgun. He began to point it at the pastor and congregation. Acting immediately, a concealed weapons licensee drew his pistol on the wannabe killer and ended the situation without any deaths. Active killer events and even violent crime aren't a result of too many guns. They're caused by too few guns arriving too late. Active killer events are swift. The FBI found that 69% were over in 5 minutes or less, well before law enforcement arrived. When guns are limited to the officers within this building, those guns will be minutes away when seconds count. The officer's response will be handicapped by notification delays, distance, and incomplete tactical information. Meanwhile, the people being shot at, and who could have immediately resisted the killer, have been disarmed and rendered defenseless by the new plan. I ask that the Commission reconsider the plan. Don't give active killers an advantage. Reject the bloody failures known as gun control and gun-free zones. Let evil in this world know that Cobb County can and will resist. And establish a county policy that armed Georgia weapons carry licensees are welcome in county-owned facilities. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.